Well, yesterday in Job, we took a look at the fact that Job starts out telling us the person of Job. He was pious, he was a parent, and he was prosperous. And as we look at today's scriptures, we're going to look at verses 4 through 12, and then we're going to discuss those. So let's take a look at those verses 4 through 12. His sons used to go and hold a feast in the house of each one on his day, and they would send and invite their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. When the days of feasting had completed their cycle, Job would send and consecrate them, rising up early in the morning and offering a burnt offering according to the number of them all. For Job said, "Perhaps my sons have sinned and cursed God in their hearts." Thus Job did continually. Now there was a day when the sons of God came before to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came with them. The Lord said to Satan, "From where do you come?" And Satan answered the Lord and said, "From roaming about on the earth and walking around on it." The Lord said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job? For there is no one like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man, fearing God and turning away from evil." Satan answered the Lord, "Does your Job fear God for nothing? Have you not made a hedge about him and his house and all that he has on every side? You have blessed the work of his hands, and his possessions have increased in the land. His possessions have increased in the land. But put forth your hand now and touch all that he has, and he will surely curse you to your face." Then the Lord said to Satan, "Behold, all that he has is in your power. Only do not put forth your hand on him." So Satan departed from the Lord's presence, the presence of the Lord. There are several things that I'd like to point out about this section of Scripture. First of all, I want you to notice Job's love for his family. And I also want you to particularly notice his spiritual condition and the fact that he was making intercession for them continually. That tells you a lot about Job and how much he loved his family, but also tells you a lot about his spiritual condition. Every one of us who has family need to be in intercessory prayer on behalf of our family, just as Job was for his family. Now, enter Satan. We also see that Satan was doing just exactly what the scripture says. He was walking around the earth seeking someone to devour. And notice that the Lord starts the conversation. Also notice that the Lord suggests Job. And he tells him what kind of man Job is. Nevertheless, Satan says he's only that kind of man because you've put a hedge around him and his possessions. If you take your hand off of him and you allow him to experience the things that can happen, then he'll certainly curse you to your face. God had a lot of confidence in Job, and so he said, you can go ahead and have your way with anything that he owns, but you can't put your hand on him to harm him physically. Now, there's a couple of things that I think you ought to think about when you think about that particular phrase, and that is that God will allow us to be tested. Secondly, we need to remember that he will limit the testing. And the scripture tells us clearly that he'll not test us above that which we're able. He knew what Job was capable of. He knew what he was able. And he didn't allow him to be tested above that. So how do we apply this to our lives today? Our spiritual condition should be continual. We can't be run hot and cold. We can't allow our spiritual condition to do a plateau or a dive. We need to be sure that it's continually high, especially when it regards our children and our mates. We need to be continually in prayer for them, intercessory prayer. God knows our condition, and he knows Satan's desire, which is to devour us, and he will not test us above which we're able. Thirdly, we must fear and bless God, because when we fear and bless God, regardless of where we are, we know that He is glorified in the fact that we have that kind of trust in Him. And finally, we need to be sure that we remember that God is in control. He sets the limits on what Satan can do. He sets the limits on our temptation, and He'll never test us above that which we're able. And I'm so glad, even though sometimes we feel like He's pressing the very, very border of the limits of our ability, He will not test us above that which we're able. And with every testing, He'll be right there with us to take us through it. And that's my thought for the day. God bless you. Have a great day.